What is up, guys? Welcome to this bonus episode of the Jenks Island Podcast. Micah Parsons has been traded to the Green Bay Packers by the Dallas Cowboys. So we're going to let Hammer give his Hammer monologue on this pick or on this trade and how he thinks that this trade for Micah Parsons changes the Packers' future direction and where they will end up this upcoming season. Quick interruption here from the episode for a fun announcement. We're going to be doing another pick'em group for the upcoming 2025 season. And just like last year, we'll be giving away an NFL jersey of choice to whoever wins at the end of the year. Our only restriction for winning that jersey is that you subscribe to the channel. So make sure to click the link right here down below to join that group and hit subscribe, and you'll be eligible to win a jersey of your choice. We look forward to competing with you guys week in, week out. Let's get back to the episode.
First of all, didn't think this would ever happen. Can't believe this is real life. Really happy. This is just something that Green Bay does not do. They don't trade away draft picks. They give out big contracts, but they don't give away draft picks like this. 2 first rounders. A couple years ago in 2018, they were pretty close to trading for Khalil Mack. They basically offered the same thing the Bears did, but they took the Bears deal because they thought they would get better picks because they're the Bears. But big trade, Packers send 2 first, 2026, 2027 to Dallas, and D tackle Kenny Clark. Love you,
No,
Kenny.
Kenny Clark.
That was tough. For Micah Parsons, they signed Parsons to 4 years, $188 million deal, 47 per year, and 136 mil is guaranteed. So he's 26 years old, so it's going to take him to 30 years old. I mean, social media is talking about it. We're talking about it. Everyone is. I think Green Bay got away with a really good deal here. 2 first round picks. I think we all knew that. But then it was like, and then what? Was it going to be day 3 picks? Maybe some young players. It ends up just being Kenny Clark, which is still a really good player, but he's 30 years old. He's going to cost him still 22 million a year. So he's still kind of pricey. He's coming off one of the worst seasons of his career where he only had 1 sack. Run defense wasn't the best. So, he's kind of descending, and I don't know. Jerry Jones in his press conference was like, yep, Kenny Clark's going to come save the day, and run defense is awesome now. We're going to stop Saquon and the Eagles. And it's like, no, I don't think that's how that works. He basically said that they were going to win more with Kenny than Parsons. But what does this do for Green Bay? I think this makes them a top 2 team in the NFC behind the Eagles. I think they leap the Lions. And, you're in this window for the next 4 years where you just win now. It's Super Bowl or bust every year. You're kind of in cap hell. You don't have first round picks next 2 years. You do have, day 2 picks, which is good.
Yeah.
But, it's win now mode for Green Bay. And if you just win 1 Super Bowl in these next 4 years, you won the trade. So, will they do it? I think so. Will it be this year? I don't know. Maybe Jordan Love and a couple of the other young players got to take some more steps. But this is a team that can definitely get the job done.
Sterb, you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, I'll say what Ham is, and I got the Packers winning the Super Bowl. This kind of this really puts the team over the top for me. You were lacking that superstar talent. You were hoping that Jordan Love could pop into that top 6 quarterback discussion, but now you have a top 3 defensive player. And Micah Parsons is a one-man defense. Last year, the Cowboys were 14th after Micah came back from injury in EPA, and they were 31st in the stretch without him. And another one is that over the past 4 years, this is from Bill Barnwell, over the last 4 years, Cowboys are the league's best defense with Micah Parsons on the field. So not just games where he's playing by EPA per play. Across a 1,039 play sample, they're the league's 2nd worst defense over that same stretch in EPA per play when Parsons isn't on the field. And, there's some talent sort of around Micah Parsons in Dallas the past couple of years. You had Deron Bland, you had, Diggs there. But, those are high ceiling, low floor guys. Those are not reliable guys that you can just say oh, we're surrounding talent with. And, you had Mozzie Smith, who's a huge bust next to Micah Parsons on the D line, and you're dropping him into actual talent. I think this really puts the Packers from like a top 8 defense into like a top 3 defense. Like I think this is going to be one of the best units in the league. And now that like Micah Parsons isn't having to do literally everything, like holding the defense together by threads, we're going to see his like actual ceiling. And I think he's my pick for defensive player of the year. And I'm picking the Packers to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I think I'm kind of like in the same mindset as Hammer here. I think they do make the NFC Championship. This definitely bumped them up above the Lions in my eyes. I think they're that number 2 team in the NFC. This is exactly what they needed, right? Like they thought Lucas Van Ness a couple years ago would come in and be an improvement on the edge for rushing and getting rushing pressure and getting production there for sacks. And it never really happened, right? You see the defense still solid, right? Like they were a really good defense last year and they were definitely turning the ball over. So now you add to that turnover margin, right? You add to the turnover margin, you add a guy that's going to be getting pressure left and right for this team. And that is going to do a great thing for this team because their corners, right? Like the corners are kind of the question mark of the defense. But if you have a little bit more pressure now, the quarterback won't be able to just stand back there and pick apart the cornerbacks. The safeties are still solid, right? Xavier McKinney, Hammer talked about that a lot last year when it happened. Xavier McKinney came in and made an instant impact. He's still going to be there to make a lot of plays for them. But adding Micah Parsons truly just makes this team the upper echelon of the NFC. And the only reason I don't have them go in the Super Bowl, and I say this in our episode that Sterb and I just recorded, breaking down like our picks for the rewards and then the Super Bowl predictions, things like that. I think Jordan Love needs another year. I think he needs at least another year. I think he makes another mental mistake in this playoffs because we've seen it last playoffs. And we saw it against the 49ers, right? We saw him make a couple mental mistakes that ultimately like cost them a couple of situations and key moments. And I think that might happen again this year in the NFC Championship game. And I know that's not what Hammer wants to hear, but I think that they're in the right position, right? They're going on the right path towards winning right now, towards where you want to be. Like if they didn't make this move, right? And Hammer, you said they usually don't. If they didn't make this move, then you're kind of like, oh, so we're complacent being like a good team, but nothing great in the NFC, right? You're just depending on Jordan Love. But this really does up your chances a whole lot.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how it pans out, but I mean, this was the move that you had to make. Like, I don't know how many other teams were in the same spot. Like, you're Green Bay, you're young, you have the cap space, you have the picks, you have the player, the D tackle that Jerry Jones wanted to stop the run. So, like, you had everything. You had to make the move. Even if it doesn't work out, like, you just have to make this move. And I like what Sterb said, like, the talent. Like, you kept Rashawn Gary in this deal. You kept a young first-round pick in Lucas Van Ness, who has not panned out, but he's at a good camp. Maybe he does this year. But you just kind of think about it on early downs. You could go LV on one side. You can go Rashawn Gary on the other side. 2 D tackles. Your linebackers could be Parsons, Quay Walker, Edgerrin Cooper. That speed at that second level, those linebackers, that's the fastest unit in the league. They're going to be flying around third down, whatever. You just bump Parsons down the line. So, like, it gives Jeff Hafley a lot of versatility. I think Jeff Hafley might get a head coaching job after this year. He already got interviews this past offseason by the Jets, too. He's one of the awesome defensive minds in football. So I think, like, these next 2 years, he could be gone getting a head coaching job. But, I mean, yeah. I mean, we got Micah freaking Parsons.
This guy's at a loss
to win
for
a
words.
Super Bowl.
Let me ask
I
you.
couldn't believe it.
Hammer.
I called Jenks. I was just going nuts. I was in class when I found out today, and I was like, I stormed out of the room. People thought I was gonna like poop my pants. I'm like, no, we got Micah Parsons.
Yeah, you need different pants. You need a new pants for a different
Yeah.
reason, Ham. That's it.
Yeah. But but I mean, like, just crazy. I can't believe it.
Yeah, no, I want to ask you. I want to ask you now that you have Micah Parsons.
Too. But it just aligns, right? Brett Favre had Reggie White. Aaron Rodgers had Charles Woodson and Clay Matthews, and now Jordan Love's got Micah Parsons. So, it's just
the different eras, man.
It's written in stone.
You guys have been treated pretty well, right? For 3 straight eras. I think that's pretty sick for Packers fans out there, right? Like, this is that move. Like, you were in the middle of the pack. Like, you were good, but you're kind of in that spot where you're like, yeah, we're gonna be good every year, maybe make it to the playoffs, but we're not like a Super Bowl contender. So this really is that move where, you're really making a push for the Super Bowl. But let me ask you, with this move, with getting Micah Parsons, Matt LaFleur here, if he doesn't go to the Super Bowl and maybe say the next 2 years, do you think he's on the hot seat? Do you think he's on his way out?
Yes, I think he's in the hot seat this year. I think if they get bounced in the first round of the playoffs, I think he could, unless they're like the number 2 seed. I don't know, 12. Like if it's another like 10, 11 win year and you're a wild card team and you get bounced
Mhm.
in the first round, I think he's on the hot seat. Now him and Gutekunst have 2 years left on the contract. We got a new president in, and he basically said like I'm gonna let it play out and we'll see how it goes because like the expectations in Green Bay to win Super Bowls and LaFleur and Gutekunst have been good, but they haven't been good enough to really get that Super Bowl. So I think they're definitely in the hot seat. This needs to be a 12 win divisional, got to win the division this year. You got to win a playoff game or two. And I think LaFleur and Gutekunst kind of get their contracts extended. So it's a big year for them. But I think everyone is on the hot seat, especially after this move, because there's no excuses now. You got the star talent, you got the firepower. Now you just got to go make it work on the field.
Yeah, I gotta agree because I think with Matt LaFleur, right, it was almost like the Mike Tomlin situation where you're getting to the playoffs every year and you're feeling good about yourself, but the playoff performances aren't what you want it to be by a playoff team, right? They did have that one really good performance against the Cowboys where they kind of came out and just blowed the roof off of the Jerry's world. So if they can replicate that throughout a whole playoffs, now they have Micah Parsons and then just go ball out, get to the NFC Championship at least this year. I think they're in a good spot. Sterb, do you have anything to add to that?
No, you guys kind of covered it with like the hot seat. One thing I wanted to ask you guys is like specifically about the contract. Like, how do you guys feel about like the contract, him getting like 47 million a year?
I mean, he's getting paid 47. TJ is getting paid 41. They're in different stages of the career. Parsons is a lot younger. He's a lot more versatile. So like that's a little bit different. But I mean, like this is just the NFL that we kind of live in now. Like, in 2 years, Parsons gonna be like the third or fourth, highest paid defensive player. It's only going up and up. So I don't really mind it. And the salary cap, is only going up and up. So just is what it is.
Yeah, I'm a big advocate of this is like getting ridiculous at this point. And Hammer, Ty and I have talked about this before on a few episodes that I think the quarterbacks are getting overpaid. Where like every single quarterback is over 50 mil now. Like that's ridiculous. Now you have all the edges fighting for over 40 million. And I think now with this deal, 47 is going to be kind of all of the new edge rushers coming into the league once they get into their contract years. If they're playing really well, they're going to be demanding 45 and up. So I think it really at this point, where does it stop? Right. And we did say, like Hammer, you said
doesn't.
Yeah, you said like the salary cap is going to continue to go up. But at that point, at the same point, like I think the Cowboys sort of screwed themselves. They had to move on from Micah because you paid Dak Prescott $60 million and then you paid CeeDee as well. So like they didn't have to move on from him, but they chose to because they felt like he was kind of outpricing himself of the team.
I know. I just like not to make this a Cowboy episode. I'm just like, what's the Cowboys' direction? I mean, Jerry Jones is like to the fan base, like we can use this first round pick this year to go get a player. It's like who? And it's just like, what's the direction of the team on NFL Network? They're like, yeah, we'll see. Maybe they can use one of the first round draft picks to go to QB. It's like, well, you just signed Dak Prescott to that monster deal last offseason. Like, I don't really get the vision, get where they're going. I mean, listen, you drafted Micah Parsons. He's young. Dude's gonna be a Hall of Famer, and you let him go. Like Hall of Famer for your team, this and that, and I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah,
I'll say this:
you don't really trade those kind of players, and like
don't.
Another thing with like Jerry saying that, and it's like, oh yeah, we'll make the team better this year with the first round picks. Okay, well then you should have traded him before the draft, so you can actually use the pick on the team this year. It's crazy how like I can't take him seriously at this point. Like it's actually he's just a clown. He's a clown.
Caution, you could have traded him probably for 3 first rounders.
Easily.
That's where I was.
You know what I mean?
That's
or
where
you
I was.
Could have 3 first rounders, even like I don't know.
Not the best deal you could have
2 firsts and like a third, and maybe like a young player. Like, Kenny Clark, I think is going to be on the Cowboys max maybe 2 years. And it's just like, is he a needle mover? No. Does he make the run defense a little better? Yeah. I love Kenny. And thank you for 9 years of service. I love you, Kenny Clark. Have his jersey, big fan, great player, great man. But like, what is I just
you could not see him go faster in this case.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're happy.
Pat, everyone on Twitter is like, you make this deal
Yeah,
10 times out of 10. Just yeah.
I mean, it feels like a fleece, and I kind of said that when it happened, right? I think Kenny Clark, right, solid player, and
Here's the
obviously
thing. Here's the thing. It's easy to find. You could find a D tackle, a nose. You can find those guys. They're still out there
rotational
in free
piece.
Well, not if you're the
agency.
Cowboys.
Well, yeah, not even the
Mozzie
Cowboys, but
Smith.
like you don't find a superstar edge. Like Green Bay can go
Yeah.
find someone to like, they got some good D tackles and they feel good about their depth, but like they can go pick someone up at the trade deadline for a day 3 pick or just go sign someone that can, fill in for on early downs, just go clog up the middle. Like it's not that crazy,
that's-
Yeah, and with
And this draft
Sorry, go
class
ahead,
too, was
Jake.
it was it
You
this
go,
draft
you go.
class or last draft class that was loaded in D tackles?
It was to
Last one,
last.
right?
Yeah.
No, this one.
No, so this
this
most
one.
recent, this
Yeah,
most
this one,
recent
this
had a lot of
one.
tackles.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think he's worth 47 million. And like the contract, I'm really not concerned about it at all because, like I said, he is a one-man defense. But also considering the context, like the Packers are probably the best team on the margins and like those mid-level players and just getting to a good floor in the league. So like if you're gonna just continue to have like an influx of like impactful third and fourth rounders, you feel really good about surrounding Micah with that.
Yeah. Let
Yeah.
me see one more thing, Jakes, and then you take it. One more thing. Like
He's been waiting.
I know it's my podcast.
This is your episode. I'll give it
Let me
to
say
you.
one more thing. I think Green Bay's front office is built to operate in times like this with this cap, with these draft picks. They're one of the best teams of finding these fringe, free agents and drafting guys on day 2 and day 3 and just hitting. Like they're better on drafting on day 2 than they are drafting day 1.
Yep.
So I think these next 2 years and next 4 years, whatever, with Parsons, they're built for it. They're built for it. They can do it. So I feel pretty confident in that.
Yeah, no, I definitely think this is what I was going to say. I definitely think it was a fleece, right? In the terms of you definitely probably could have gotten a third first. And I definitely think you could have gotten a better defensive replacement. I think you could have gone edge and that way you have like the defensive tackle is like you can replace, like you said, Hammer, that was a really good point, is that they're more rotational to me, a defensive tackle is than an edge. Edges are really, really hard to find. And the premium edge rushers are always picked in that first half of the first round. And you're going and getting 2 firsts. They're going to be towards the end of the first round in the next 2 seasons. Yes, these 2 drafts coming up are supposed to be very, very stacked, but I just think the end of this first round, you want at least 3. If they're going to be late first, you want 3 at least, or a second included as well, or a third, or something like that. You want more draft capital than what they got. And then as far as terms of the player in return, Kenny Clark, solid. But I think, and this is kind of what surprised me, is I feel like they could have gone with the Bills, right? If you go with the Bills, you get 2 firsts or you get 3 firsts. And then you also can get Greg Rousseau or someone like that because the Bills have replacements on the edge behind him that they could have replaced. And they would have thrown in like a guy like Greg Rousseau, who is an edge, who's above average. And I think that could have been a good replacement to get in return. And then real quick, just to say, if Jerry Jones wants to start throwing these firsts around, I mean, I love Alvin Kamara with my heart and soul, but at this point in time, the Saints, I don't see us going and getting a ring in the next year or 2, which like sucks, right? I want Alvin to get. Oh yeah, my bad. Tyler Shuck and Spencer Rattler carry us to the Super Bowl, but no, I think like if they want a running back, that's actually solid. You give us a first for Alvin Kamara, slide it on the table. We'll take it, Jerry, if that's what you really want. But that's a bullshit.
I'm really like if I had to pick players that were going to be part of this trade, I thought it was Van Ness or Romeo.
Yeah.
I just, I mean, did they ask about Rashawn? I mean, here's the thing: that Gregory Rousseau, I don't think that would have worked because the whole goal is to pair them together. Like, Green Bay, I feel like they definitely made Rashawn Gary untouchable. Like, I'm surprised they wouldn't want like a Lucas Van Ness, a guy who was really talented on the edge, he has not panned out, but like, you got 3 years of control, young player. I think like, I don't know why they wouldn't have taken that unless Green Bay really resisted. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of like all the packages that were maybe offered and everything.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones said that like they had like an idea. Okay, Micah and Green Bay, they discussed the contract.
He said Michael. But yeah,
Michael is coming to, yeah.
Yeah, Jerry Jones
Ridiculous.
said Michael and the Packers discussed it. They kind of came up with the contract the past 2 days. And then this afternoon, they decided on like Kenny Clark. 2 first-round picks. Boom, send it. So, like, I'm just like, I don't know.
It's a wild trade. I think it's an under. I think they're getting less than what they should have got. But at the same time, they did it at a terrible time in the season. Like this is their least. This is their point of least. Like they had the least leverage in comparison to the preseason, the draft process.
And then Jerry Jones made it sound like this was the plan all along. It was
no. He literally said he was like this. This is exactly how he planned it. Like
it's how it aligns. Yeah, and everything.
Yeah, like, dude, no, it didn't. This looks like shit for you.
No one believes
the organization. Like, it's not a good look. But he wants all the attention on the Cowboys 24/7. He said that as well. So it's a really bad look. But I mean, that's all I have to say. Sterb, do you have anything to add?
No, we kind of said it all. Like, it's kind of just clown behavior from Jerry Jones.
Yeah, no, it's just bad. Hammer, anything to add to close that episode off?
I'll give you my Packer prediction for this year because this is the last time we'll be on until week 1 predictions. So I had to change this quick. I had the Packers going 11-6, winning the division. So with the Parsons trade, I'm going to bump that up to 12-5, 5-1 in the division. I have them sweeping Detroit, sweeping Chicago, and splitting with Minnesota. So they're going to go 12-5, 5-1 in the division, first place division. Okay. And these are my bold predictions. I think Jordan Love will be a top 3 MVP candidate. Top 3. Not saying he wins it. I think he's going to be top 3. I think Micah Parsons wins Defensive Player of the Year. I think Matthew Golden is top 3, top 5 offensive rookie of the year candidate. And I think the Packers are in the Super Bowl. I don't know if they win it. Depends who they go against. I think they make it.
You got to pick your team. You got to pick your team to get.
And they're going to win it. And they're going to beat the Ravens, just like Sterb. I went with the Packers Ravens last year. I'm going to go with it again. I'm going to say Packers win.
There we go, Ham. Balls to the wall. Balls to the wall, man. That's what the Packers are doing right now. So you got to pick them. Anyways, that'll do it for our bonus episode here. Next week, we're going to be giving our week 1 pick'em episode out to you guys. So that's exciting. The NFL season's coming around right around the corner. If you guys watch this, but not our recent episode predicting the NFL awards, make sure to go check that out as well. You guys know where to check us out on social media at Jenks Island and wherever you get your podcasts at Jenks Island as well. We'll see you guys next week.